How the hell do I save enough money to travel the world? I see all these other people living this fabulous lifestyle, spending all this money, going everywhere. I want to do it too. I bet these are questions that you have and you want answers to, and I've got a few of them for you today. This week we're going to focus on money. Yay! You either love to hate it and you probably love to have it. So we're going to dig deep into all of my tips that I've learned over the past few years of traveling to help you save more to travel for longer, and to just have more of the colorful stuff. The first topic of this week is how to save money to travel. How to get you off your couch and onto a plane and to an exotic destination where you can lounge in a chair with a coconut or go climb mountains. Whatever your thing is, I'm gonna tell you how you can save to do it. Tip number 1 is to buy only the necessities. The amount of money that I see people wasting and the amount of money that I have wasted buying ridiculous things that you don't actually need. All of this money could be saved towards your travels. Things you're buying that are probably costing you a lot more money than you think they are things that are actually little luxuries. So you need to figure out what the luxuries are in your life and get rid of them. It's okay to treat yourself once in a while, but you need to stop things like buying coffee every day, getting manicures every week, getting your hair done. Do you know how much that stuff costs? Can you do manicures yourself? I know you can make your own coffee at home. Can you do your hair yourself? Do you have any subscriptions that you're not using at all or barely using? Do you really need them? This needs to become the question that you need to ask yourself all the time. Do I really need this? The answer is probably no. There's extra dollar signs in your bank account. Promise yourself that you will only pay for the necessities: bills, rent or mortgage, food, and transit. That's all you need. And when it comes to transit, do you even need a car? Is there a cheaper place to buy gas? Or can you just take the bus or even walk? There are always little ways to save, to be that little bit tighter, that will help you save money and travel sooner, longer, and farther. So I challenge you right now to sit down and write down all the little luxuries that you have. Do you get eyelash extensions? Do you eat out all the time? Do you treat yourself to a nice cocktail? Figure them out, write them down, start eliminating. Don't get rid of all of them at first unless you want to save super quick, which I'm sure a lot of you want to do. But eliminating them all at the same time can also be really overwhelming, and you can feel like you're doing nothing with your life and you get really bored and miserable, which we don't want either. Tip number 2. I literally just touched on this in the first tip, but it deserves to be a tip all on its own. Stop eating out. You are wasting so much money eating out. Believe me, as someone who absolutely hates cooking, I would prefer to eat out every meal, every day. That's why I'm here in Bali right now. I've moved here and I can afford to do this. However, in other places like back home in Canada, it's absolutely not affordable. Even if you're doing it 1-2 times a week, it still adds up pretty quick, and the average person buys their lunch when they're at work instead of bringing one from home. Do you know how much money you can be saving by making your own simple lunch and bringing it to work? A lot. If eating out is a really social aspect for you, there are still ways to get together with your friends. Why not do a wine and cheese night at home? You buy your wine and cheese from the grocery store, have it at home. It is a fraction of the cost than it is at a restaurant. Or have a night cooking. Host each other at each other's houses. There are ways to still do things without spending so much money. Tip number 3, get the right credit card. Unfortunately, this is not available to everyone. As a Canadian, I know only the very limited options that we have for money back and travel points, which is one of the biggest ways that people travel hack in the US. However, if you are American or from other countries, you may have a lot more options than Canadians do. Definitely take a look into credit cards and see what is available. See if you can get money back That's a little bit of extra money every year. See if you can get travel points. You can get hotels for free. You can get flights for free. Get it now. Start using it now. The points and the extra dollars will add up faster than you probably think. That being said, there are still options for Canadians, so don't totally just discredit it and don't go looking. I personally prefer money back because I'd rather just have cash and then choose to spend it on whatever I want versus getting points. That's just my personal opinion, but you may be able to collect points faster than cash back. You got to do your research and look at the fine print. When you're looking for credit cards, don't forget to look at the fees. Sometimes the credit cards fees are just not worth getting the credit card. In the end, it all depends on how much you spend. And another tip when it comes to credit cards is a lot of banks have all these deals for sign up for credit cards. So you could get the fee waived the first year or get like an extra amount of bonus points. Sign up, use a credit card for the year, get all the bonuses, and then get rid of the credit card. Sign up for another one. Another bonus of credit cards, especially if you get a travel credit card, is that they could actually save you money, not just through points and getting money back, but a lot of them provide travel insurance. Take a look into this. I personally don't use credit card travel insurance because it doesn't cover me for long enough, but most of them will actually cover you up to 30 days of travel. So if you're planning a shorter trip, it could save you money because then you don't have to purchase travel insurance, which you should be getting. Tip number 4, we're gonna talk about where you live and how much you pay for accommodation. This is often the biggest expense that people have. Can you move somewhere cheaper? Can you get a roommate? Can you move home? I know it's not ideal for everyone to move home or it's just not possible, but a lot of people ask me how I afford to travel. I go home for a few months at least every year. I understand that I'm lucky to have this opportunity and that my parents are really easygoing and I can move home with them, but that doesn't mean it's easy. It doesn't mean it wasn't a sacrifice for me. Could you move to a location that's a little bit farther out of town? You may have to transit for a little bit longer, but is it gonna be saving you $100, $200, $300? That adds up really fast. When I moved back home from Toronto to live with my parents, I saved $7,000 in 5 months. 5 months. That is months of travel in Southeast Asia or somewhere cheap. It is totally doable to save a lot of money if you decide to save on your accommodation. All right, tip number 5 is one of my favorite travel tips. Open up a savings account. It's super, super easy. Then you gotta train yourself to put away X amount of money or a certain percentage of money into the savings account every time you get paid. Yes, every single time you get paid, put away money into this account. Make sure this account that has interest on it, and then you're gonna be making extra dollars on this money. That's just free. It's free money from the bank. It takes your money anyway, so you may as well be taking it back. So if you have a paycheck every month or every 2 weeks that you know the exact amount that you're getting, it's a lot easier to just say, okay, I'm gonna put away $500 from each paycheck into this account. My paychecks are all over the place. Sometimes I have no idea what I'm earning. So since I was younger, I've been putting away 10% of everything that I've earned. Even when I got cash as presents, I would take 10% and put it into this account. I have savings now, and this is a big reason of why I was able to start traveling out of nowhere. I went to Europe and spent all this money, and people were like, how the hell did you just finish college and go to Europe and have all this fun? Honey, I was saving for 4 years through college. What were you doing? If you haven't been saving though, I don't want to make you feel bad. Not everyone knows what to do when it comes to money, and it's a pretty taboo topic to talk about for a lot of people. I'm giving you these tips now so you can apply them and you can go on a fabulous Europe trip like I did, or go to Central America, or wherever you want. Just open that account, start putting X amount or percentage away into it right now. Tip number 6, a lot of you guys may not like this one because it may take a little bit of work, but I promise it is gonna save you money. Tip number 6 is to cut down on bills. Some of the ways that you can cut down on bills is to be more energy efficient. Wash and dry your clothes that's not at a peak time, change light bulbs so they're using less electricity, Sit down and take a look at your phone bill. Do you really need 10 gigs of data? I know phone bills are a lot cheaper in other countries, but in Canada, you can seriously save so much money just off of your phone bill alone. It's ridiculous how much we have to pay. And again, it comes back to the question, do I really need this? Sit down, analyze your bills, and start chopping some away. Tip number 7 kind of ties into tip number 1, but this time it's say no to extras. The biggest thing that I do when trying to save money is, for example, if I'm eating out, which you shouldn't be doing to begin with, but if you're still doing it, don't buy any drinks. I always drink water. It's a lot cheaper and healthier for you too. Do your nails at home, do your hairs at home. I mentioned this before. Stop going to the movies. You can watch a movie at home with friends with some popcorn from the grocery store. Like I've been saying so much in this video already, there are always ways to cut down. Treat yourself once in a while, but cut down the majority. Tip number 8 is actually a question that you need to make a habit. Ask yourself every single time you're about to buy something, what would I rather? Would I rather a cocktail on the beach in Thailand, or would I rather a drink at a bar at home? Would I rather a new pair of shoes, or would I rather buying a new exotic dress somewhere else? Seriously, what you get when you travel is always going to win out. Get in the habit of asking yourself, what would I rather? And I promise you're going to realize how much extra you're spending on all these frivolous and unneeded things. Tip number 9 is the only tip that I'm actually going to tell you to spend more money. Another one of my favorite tips is to invest in the right products. Just because you're trying to save money doesn't mean you should go and buy cheap everything. Sometimes spending more money on something that will last you longer is going to save you money in the long haul. Spend $100 on those pair of leather boots. Well, they'll probably be more than $100 instead of buying the pleather ones, because over the years you're gonna buy cheap pair after cheap pair after cheap pair, and then you're gonna end up spending the same amount, if not more, on buying cheap things. So always take a look at products and decide whether it's worth investing. Be smart. Tip number 10, don't hate me for this one, but you're welcome for reminding you to ditch the booze. Alcohol is so expensive. Get rid of your party habits. You'll save a ton of money. I swear, I completely stopped drinking at one point and saw the $ stain in my account instead of constantly flying out. If ditching the booze altogether is too much for you, I completely understand. I love myself a good glass or an entire bottle of wine on a weeknight. Every once in a while, just drink at home. Stop buying drinks out or pre-drink more before you go out. Again, it's all about compromise. You don't have to give up absolutely everything, but if you're compromising, the little bit of each tip is going to be saving you hundreds and thousands. Tip number 11 has got a little bit of self-promotion. Sorry guys, but I gotta. Read blogs. If you didn't know, I'm actually a travel blogger and have been blogging for over 3 years now. You can read everything at taylorstracks.com. I'm not saying this just to get you to my blog, but seriously, reading blogs when I was getting ready for some of my trips saved me so much money. I would recommend to stop buying the guidebooks. They're often outdated and you can get so many more different opinions when you're reading different blogs, and you can also get them faster. If you are a fan of guidebooks, I would recommend getting PDF copies. It's a lot cheaper and a lot lighter, so you don't have to carry around this chunky book when you travel. Another bonus to reading blogs is bloggers also have a lot of discounts. Airbnb is a really big one. Bloggers will usually have a little sign up. If it's your first time using Airbnb, you can get something like $20 off. It differs on the blogger and changes all the time, but little bits like that add up really fast. Tip number 12. I know before you guys go on a trip, you're probably gonna be buying stuff, whether you need a new suitcase, a new backpack, new clothes, because I know you wanna look fabulous wherever you're gonna go. I completely understand. Before every trip I go on, I always end up buying stuff. this is just to remind you that you should be buying stuff on sale. So you gotta shop smart. You gotta think in advance. You can't do any last minute shopping because it's gonna cost you a fortune. Look on Amazon for sales, anywhere, everywhere. There's always a sale. Don't buy things full price. You're being ripped off. Also, if you're backpacking, oh my God, please don't spend too much money on clothes. Every time you get your clothes washed, you always get something ruined or something missing, or you just wear your clothes so much that you're probably gonna throw them out after the trip or after a second trip. Depends how long your trip is, because they're gonna get smelly. They're in a backpack the entire time. Just don't spend the money. Tip number 13. How many of you have things laying around that you no longer use or wear or want? Me, and I bet a lot of you guys too. Sell it. Especially if you have electronics laying around, sell those electronics. You seriously get decent money for them. Clothes you may not get so much money for. Seriously, you will be surprised with the amount of things you'll find around your room, in your house, apartment, wherever you live, that you can sell. It could add up to a couple $100s, it could add up to thousands, you never know. My very last tip, and the one that requires the most work but can help you save even more money, is to pick up little side jobs. You can even bake cookies for people and sell them at work. There's always a little something extra that you can do. Can you freelance with something? Do you have a hobby that you can make things and sell them? Set up a little side business, get your hustle going. Plus, while you're busy selling all of those things, you'll have less time to spend money on other things. If you guys made it to the end of the video, I hope I was able to help you, and I hope that you're able to put these things into practice and that you're saving thousands of dollars for your dream trip wherever it may be. Again, thank you so much for watching this video and making it all the way to the end. I'm very grateful. This is my first ever talking YouTube video. It's been very awkward, but I hope that you enjoyed it. You can leave comments below, likes, give me any tips or suggestions. Let me know what you want to see on this channel. Maybe I'll make a video from your suggestion. Lastly, don't forget to subscribe. I'll be back tomorrow with another video, again on money, because that's this week's topic, and you guys are gonna have so much by the end of the week. See you tomorrow.